Hi everybody, it's Robin here at Toadstool Tarot, and today I'm bringing you an indie deck called the Kalma Tarot, K-A-L-M-A, by a Karroll William, K-A-R-O-L-L, William. Comes in a hefty little knocker of a box, lift-off box. The illustration on the front has no bearing on the contents. It looks sort of like a Japanese butterfly with eyes on its wings in a very kind of Art Nouveau rendering. Has nothing to do with the images in the deck. On the back there's a teensy-weensy self-portrait of the artist. It was an indie deck I got at makeplayingcards.com, and it's more than I've spent on a deck before. I think it was 65 and change, but it's a majors only deck, so it's only 22 cards. So let's get into them. The cardstock is beautiful. It's a linen cardstock. It's nice weight. As you can see, these are the backs of the cards, which I wouldn't have made those the backs because they don't really relate to the deck. And it kind of makes me wonder if this artist actually did these paintings, because they have a very aged and almost dirty look, like they were taken from an old children's book in an attic somewhere. I love that they're borderless, have no numbers or no names on them. And this is the Hermit. They're very much satiric kind of images, like old political cartoons, you know. This is not a spry young fool. This is sort of a world-weary fool with a sad sack look on his face. I love the stylized quality of the images and the color palette. And they remind me very much of children's book illustrations from Eastern Europe from the 50s or 60s. This is the Magician. You couldn't mistake him for anything but the Magician. It's much more serious. This is the High Priestess, which seems a little haughty. Actually, she reminds me of the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland. She looks like she's ready to shout off with his head. This is the Empress, who looks as if she's a little on the timid side, maybe not so sure about the intentions of the Emperor, who is a very hedonistic, pot-bellied old man with a certain vanity about him, and the way he's kept his mustache very orderly, and he's got the orb of the world in his hands with the eagle right there on top. It's very sort of Russian look to it, or Czech, or Polish, or something like that. The Hierophant. The Lovers, which looks like a mixed race couple, which would almost go against the argument that these are older vintage images. Here is the Chariot. The Strength card. I love, I've been looking lately for borderless, labelless decks. And I love that these don't have labels or numbers on them, and they're borderless. That is the Hermit, and he's one of the droopiest, sad sack looking hermits that I've ever seen. This is the Wheel of Fortune with hare and monkey chasing their way around, and some little imp atop the table. If you can see him there, a little blue imp. Here is Justice, world-weary Justice. Here's the Hanged Man. I think that's the first Hanged Man I've ever seen showing a belly button and letting his hair hang down. Here is a very scary and severe death card out of a wisp of smoke like a genie. And there is the Temperance card. A very contemporary looking rendering of a devil, again out of a wisp of smoke. A Tower card that I love. It looks like tumbled building blocks in a child's toy chest. And the colors are like primary colors, nice and bright. They really pop. I like the color palette in this. Now these are a little bit different. This is the star, and the images of the sky behind the star are almost tie-dye, splotchy kind of splotches and spots, washes, as is the moon. It's kind of a psychedelic moon with a lot of color going on there. Color dripping from the moon. And the saddest sun card I think I've ever seen, with two little kids that look less than pleased that the sun is shining down. The sun doesn't seem too happy either. So this deck has a lot of attitude to it, but I like the attitude. It's kind of refreshingly different from what I'm used to seeing. The stylization is quite wonderful. It's a Judgment card. And last but not least, finally on a happy note, the World card. So we're only 8 minutes in, and since it's a majors only deck, I'm going to walk you back through it. It's the backs, the World, Judgment, the Sun, the Moon, the Star, the Tower, the Devil, Temperance, Death, the Hanged Man, Justice. This may not be a deck for beginners if you're not familiar with these. The Wheel of Fortune. Those of you who know the tarot system and know the major arcana, the Hermit, will know all of these cards just by looking at them. They're very easy to tell which ones they are. Strength, the Chariot. There is no lovers. There's no booklet, guide booklet or anything with this deck. It's just the cards. A Hierophant, the Emperor, the Empress, the High Priestess, the Magician, Oh, I see a lot of the cards share this kind of red and blue motif. And the Fool. I'm curious as to what you think of this. I only saw one little flip through online, and it was a sort of an advertisement for the deck. I haven't seen anybody else have this deck yet. Maybe people just don't buy majors only cards, or maybe it outpriced them, or it's too new. I don't know, but I think it's a year old. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of this, and otherwise I might be the only one to have this wonderfully scarce deck, and I hope to make a lot of use of it. See you soon. Bye.